Hi there, I'm Vincent Boss and I provide dating and self-improvement advice. And in today's podcast, we're going to be discussing dumper rebound experience. I provide audio and email coaching to help people try and get their ex back or get a new girlfriend or boyfriend. Check out my website for more details, www.dateme.tips. Please check your spam and junk folders if you are expecting an email from me. So now let's get back into today's podcast, and today we are discussing dumper rebound experience. So I would like you to type in the comments if you believe that your ex is currently in a rebound relationship. In today's podcast, I'm going to be explaining the likely set of events that a dumper will experience if they are in a rebound. So let's start right at the beginning. And that is that when two people are in a relationship, if one person loses a level of romantic emotional attraction that they feel for their partner, they will likely end the relationship. So somebody becomes a dumper when the level of romantic emotional attraction that they feel for their partner plummets to a certain low point. This doesn't mean that they didn't like everything about the relationship. It's quite possible that even at the time of the breakup, there were certain elements that the dumper really enjoyed. And this is one such reason as for why the first red flag of a dumper takes place when they are jumping into a rebound relationship. And that first red flag is that they get into a relationship very, very quickly. There is no set time limit, but I would suggest that if somebody jumps into a relationship within a few months of a breakup, so certainly days or weeks, but up until a few months, then there is a very good chance that this is the first sign of a rebound relationship. And the reason a dumper will do this is because they want to hold on to the certain elements they were enjoying with their ex. So when the dumper ends the relationship with the dumpee, it's not like they hated everything. And there are certain parts they really enjoyed and therefore they really miss. So it goes to reason that they want to jump back into those elements. And this is where a rebound relationship can take place for a dumper, because the dumper wants to grab hold of those elements ASAP. They're obviously, at this stage, not going to want to get back with their ex because they've just decided to end the relationship. They're not feeling enough romantic emotional attraction right now for the dumpee to consider getting back with them. But that doesn't mean that they're not going to be missing certain parts. So they want those parts of the relationship back. They want them ASAP, and hence they will jump into a relationship very quickly so they can try and grab hold of those elements which they are missing. And this can be showcased in certain key ways. Two examples that I often see, and I've said previously, is that if, for instance, you as the dumpee, maybe when you was with your ex, the first time you went on holiday together, the first time you went on vacation together was after 9 months or a year of being together. Maybe that is something that happened in your relationship. And yet you find out that your ex, the dumper, has only been with their new partner for a few weeks, and yet they're now going on holiday, they're having a vacation with them. And you're thinking, well, how's this possible? Why on earth are they going on holiday so quickly with this new person when we had to be together 9 months a year before we went on holiday? Another example I give is where the ex, the dumper, will get into a new relationship very soon after the breakup, and before you know it, they're actually living together. So the dumpee is thinking, well, it took us a very long time before we moved in together, and yet my dumper is now living with their new partner and they have only known each other a month. What's going on? Well, these are two classic examples of when a dumper is in a rebound relationship. It's a red flag again. It's a big clue that this is what is probably going on, because they've got into a relationship very quickly and they are now trying to hold on to and get back those elements that they are really missing, that they are no longer with the dumpee, and they just want them back. It's almost like they don't care who they have them with, they just want them back now. They want them back with somebody new. They want them back with somebody whose level of romantic emotional attraction in their eyes hasn't plummeted to such a low point that they see them as a low value individual. They just want these elements. So when the dumper is living their life, they're going through it, they've got together with somebody very quickly after their breakup. Maybe they've moved in together very quickly. Maybe they've gone on vacation very quickly. Maybe it's something else. There are other options, other possibilities as for what a dumper could be showcasing, as for why they are using their new relationship to go at a million miles an hour and experience things really, really quickly. You know yourself. If you're a dumpy, you will know yourself as for what clues you can see as for why your ex, the dumper, is possibly in a rebound. Now, I should say at this stage, I never suggest that a dumpy tries to track their ex in any way, shape or form. You certainly shouldn't be checking on social media to find out information about your ex. It's never going to do you any good. Any type of behavior which means you are paying attention in detail to what your ex is doing is often going to cause you pain and additional heartbreak. It will in particular cause you confusion and give you more questions than you can possibly get answers for. So I highly suggest that as a dumpy, you don't check your ex's social media, you don't ask your friends for information, and you don't do any type of stalking at all. It is not healthy, it is not positive, and it can also get you in a lot of trouble. However, I also appreciate that there is a very strong possibility that a dumpy will hear information about their ex through other sources. You might not be asking your friends to let you know things, but your friends might tell you anyway. You might hear from your family. You might bump into your ex and their new partner. There could be many reasons that you find out this information without you actually doing the things that I suggest you avoid, okay? So even though I'm telling you, don't check up on your ex, I appreciate there's a very good possibility that you will kind of bump into this information. And therefore, if you do, and if you hear these things, such as your ex has got into a new relationship very quickly, if you find out that they are grabbing hold of certain elements really, really quickly that you had in your relationship that took time, and that all of a sudden with their new partner, they are going through at a million miles an hour and they're really kind of jumping into these things, the relationship's going really, really quickly, I appreciate you can hear these things from other ways, and even though I don't advise you look for it, I appreciate you might hear this, and if you do, then these are red flags that your ex-dumper is quite possibly in a rebound relationship. Now, when somebody's in a rebound relationship, because they are doing what I've just explained, they have the relationship first and get to know the new person second. Now, this is something crucial to understand. In most instances, two people will get to know each other first, and then if they are feeling they're compatible, they will then have a relationship. And as time naturally progresses, they get closer and closer. When somebody is in a rebound relationship, and as I've said, they're wanting to experience certain elements that they are really missing from their past, they will think, well, you know what, I'm just going to jump into this relationship and I'm just going to experience this and I'll kind of get to know them as we go along. It's almost like they're getting to know each other whilst they're on the job. That is the best way of explaining it. So people who are in a rebound, in particular when it's a dumper going into the situation, they will be having the relationship first and getting to know the new person secondary as this relationship is going on. They are going on vacation together before they even really know each other, and they're getting to know each other whilst this holiday is taking place. Whereas ordinarily, two people would get to know each other first and then decide if they even want to go on vacation together. You know, two people ordinarily would get to know each other first before they move in with each other. But somebody who's in a rebound, they'll be thinking to themselves, well, I just want to live with somebody again. I really loved that. You know, and before you know it, they're inviting this new person to live with them. And depending on their own situation, this is when that can easily happen. So with this in mind, when you can now understand that people in a rebound have a relationship first and get to know the new person secondary whilst they're going through this, you will probably understand how a rebound relationship generally ends. And that is, it ends as quickly as it began. It ends almost with an explosion. It's going a million miles an hour. And like a firework, it just explodes into the sky. So it started with a bang and it ends with a bang. And the reason for this is if you think of it in the situation of if you was dating brand new people, you're very unlikely to date the first person and think, you know what, this person is for me forever, they are the one. That is very unlikely. More than likely, you're going to have to date numerous people before you find that right person. So what are the odds that a dumper is going to end this relationship with a dumpee and instantly find their new soulmate? Well, the odds are against that. It is not likely at all. And the most likely outcome is that once they actually get to know each other, they will realise they are not compatible. They will realise that this shouldn't have taken place. And if they live with each other, they will quickly leave each other's property. If they're going on holiday with each other, they will often have an argument maybe when they're away, they'll kind of get back and it will just blow up. These things are where the pressure is on when you're living together, when you're on vacation together, and many other examples that I've not mentioned in today's podcast. That is when the test kind of comes, and as time goes on, more tests happen. As life throws all sorts into the mix as you move through day by day, this is when a relationship is really tested. And if you don't really know each other, you don't know how each other are going to react. How do you react under stress? How do you react under something bad happening at work? How do you react when there's a problem within the family? You don't know how your partner is going to react to something until you know them for a very long time. And if you're already living together, or if you're already going on holiday together and spending lots of time together, this can seem really, really intense. And the likelihood is that this is the first person they have met after the breakup, and they are unlikely to be compatible long term. The odds are against it. So in most instances, a dumper will end the relationship with the dumpee. And if they get into a relationship very, very quickly, they will then go to a million miles an hour, experiencing the things that they missed. But then, as quickly as it started, this relationship will suddenly end. And in my opinion, a rebound relationship will end in less than a year's time. And it will end with an explosion, normally within big arguments or whatnot, because all of a sudden they realise they're just not compatible. And this relationship will end just as suddenly as it began. So if you're a dumpy and you're thinking, well, what do I do in this situation? Well, I always say, don't clock watch. There is no guarantees of what will happen in the future. There is no 100% guaranteed way to get your ex back. What I would say is if you are under the impression that your ex, the dumper, is in a rebound relationship, there is a very strong possibility that after this relationship ends, they might want to contact you. And the reason for this is because after this explodes in the way it is likely to do, if you have done everything right as the dumpee, you will seem like somebody who would be a safe option to speak with because you are somebody who understands the dumper more than anybody. And if the dumper has now gone through pain themselves because this new connection has exploded, they will subconsciously be drawn to somebody that they knew cared for them, and that was you. Now, of course, they're only going to make contact with you if you've done everything right. If you have made mistakes, and if you continue to make mistakes, then the dumper won't do this. But if you do everything right, if you use my version of a no contact rule, if you use the hints, tips, and advice that I give in other podcasts, then you stand an excellent opportunity of being that person that the dumper wants to speak with after their rebound ends. And they'll do this because they know you like them, they know you care for them. And if they're going through pain themselves, they will naturally be drawn to contact you. Now, however, I must stress there is no guarantee this will take place because we have to talk about the elephant in the room. And that is that your ex, the dumper, might not be in a rebound relationship. As I said, in my opinion, a rebound relationship will last no longer than a year. If this relationship lasts longer than a year, then we have to consider the possibility that they were in fact compatible. So if your ex, the dumper, meets somebody really, really quickly and they move this relationship really, really fast, but the relationship lasts longer than a year, then in my opinion, this has evolved into a relationship on a stronger foundation. Now, this doesn't mean that the relationship will last forever. Relationships end every day of the year. But what it does mean is that it wasn't a rebound relationship and that they have probably got a connection on a deeper level than first seemed possible. This is something we have to consider. And this is something we have to understand as for why, as a dumpee, you can't wait around. Because the truth is, we will only know if your ex is in a rebound relationship if and when it ends. And if and when it ends, we can check the time. And if it's within a year and it's ticked off those other main kind of things that we look for, then there is a strong possibility it was a rebound. If it goes on for longer than a year, then we have to admit to ourselves that they have likely made a connection that is a bit stronger than we first thought. Like I said, it doesn't mean this relationship will last forever. Your relationship didn't last forever, and at the time, I'm sure you both thought it would. Relationships end every single day. But just be prepared for the fact that even if you think that your ex is really showing red flags about being in a rebound, it doesn't necessarily mean they are. The important thing for you as a dumpy is that you move forward with your life. You use my version of a no contact rule. You make new connections. You go through self-improvement every single day. And if you do everything right, then one day in the future, if your ex becomes single, whether it was a rebound or not, you stand an excellent opportunity of one day hearing from your ex again. Let's not get confused with the dating labels. Even if it wasn't a rebound relationship, if your ex becomes single again and you do everything right, then you still stand a chance of hearing from them again. So it's vital that you do the right things. But if and when they contact you, you might not even want to hear from them. You might have outgrown them. You might have met somebody even better. And that is why I always say, with or without your ex, you will have a positive future and you shouldn't be clock watching. Because it doesn't matter ultimately if your ex contacts you in the future or not. If you make your own future, if you go on your own journey, if you make a path which leads you to happiness, then the ball is in your court and the decision is yours. If your ex contacts you, it is your decision if you want to see them again. Please remember that happiness is around your next corner. You just don't know when that next corner is. And it doesn't have to be with your ex. You can make a new connection, which is even better. If you believe that this podcast has helped you, then please consider buying me a coffee. The link to do so is in the description.
Yeah, if you miss your ex, we can help with that. Help you get him back, or we can help find you someone else. Yeah, Vincent Bo, the relationship coach, giving you some insight, bringing you a new approach. DateMe.tips, go and check the site, giving you advice, helping with your love life. Get your ex back, or move to the next. Ain't no sweat, you know Vincent Bo got you. Finding love ain't no problem. Yeah, DateMe.tips, check it out now.